weekend. It was a small group of us, maybe 10 women, who wanted to advance in their fields, and I was by far the youngest. I was sitting there, I was like, okay, I have a lot of questions, and I need to learn a lot right now. So,
which is probably honestly the best position to be in.
Yeah.
Really young and eager to learn and curious.
Absolutely.
People are so willing to help.
Absolutely, and as an entrepreneur, that is your number one asset, is being willing to learn. You have to always be open to everything and taking it in, taking nuggets from what everybody says and applying it into your business.
Hey there, I'm so happy that you are here. Welcome to the Power of Why podcast. You are about to watch an interview with an unconventional woman in business. These are women that inspire me every single day by doing the work that they love, living out their why. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for updates when new videos come out, and make sure to connect with me on social so that you can be a part of the journey. See you later. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 10 of the Power of Why podcast. My name is Naomi, and today I am joined by the Maddie Hession. Thank you. Well, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me, Naomi. I'm so excited to talk to everyone and get to talk to you.
Should be fun. It's actually interesting. Maddie and I went to high school together, and we went to different schools for university. So we, stopped talking for a few years, and then recently reconnected. The power of the internet has been super grateful for it.
Oh yeah, communication, man. Like I was so excited to get to reconnect with Naomi. We're both doing similar things and really helping women empower each other and putting our word out there. So I'm really happy to be able to do this with you and collaborate.
Super pumped. You are in for a really great episode. Maddie focuses on the wellness space. She's a fitness and nutrition coach. She just launched her entrepreneurial journey a few months back. She has been a model for a few years, but kept that, a little hush-hush. So today we really wanted to talk about entrepreneurship and, your journey starting out in this world. You recently moved to Toronto as well, which has been an interesting job.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your origin story and what came before this fitness and nutrition coaching business.
Absolutely. So, I started off my whole life is from a young age as a model. My mom owned a modeling agency growing up, so I really grew up in that whole space of modeling and of taking care of yourself and knowing how to look. It was always about physique with the modeling.
Yeah.
And then I went on to model in my older life. And I traveled.
Which is also still young, don't you?
Yeah, no, I was 14, so older life. But I traveled internationally, and I really saw a gap in the industry about health and really teaching our girls how to get to where they want to be in a healthy, sustainable way. Because you walk into the agencies and they look at you and they say you're beautiful, but maybe you need to lose 5-10 pounds, and you're already. Maybe you don't need to lose 5-10 pounds, and I just saw so many girls kind of go down the rabbit hole and not know how to do that. So I was lucky enough because I was also a competitive ski racer growing up. So I learned the value of health and having the value of having a coach and learning. I had a personal trainer. I had a nutritionist, so I had someone telling me what to eat, how to gain that muscle.
Yeah.
And I was really able to take that and apply it into my modeling world. And it served me well, and now I noticed that I could be the one to teach those girls how to do that as well, because it's no lie that the modeling world needs a little bit of education when it comes to health and wellness. Yeah. So I love to give that to other people.
Especially with your type of background in terms of actually being in it from a young age. When we were in high school together, you were modeling, and to have that support around you, your mom is also in the industry, so having someone to look up to in that type of situation is such a huge help. Absolutely. Having that support system has been everything.
Yeah. And that guidance. I wouldn't have been able to guide the world without her, for sure. And so I'm thankful and grateful that I've had her just to learn from and to be able to walk the path in a healthy way and never have to veer off. So I'm really grateful for that.
Very cool. So before you moved to Toronto and started on this new journey, you studied at Bishop's University, right?
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about some of the education background that you have in the space?
No, absolutely. So leaving high school as a competitive ski racer, I knew that I wanted to continue in this health and fitness industry. I loved it. It's always been my way of release. Exercise has always been my way of reconnecting with myself and being able to let go of the stresses. Some people paint, some people dance. I love to exercise, and it really brings me back every time. So I went on to Bishop's University. I got my BA in athletic development and health with my minor in entrepreneurship, because I knew that I had to do something on my own. I had to go out there and really get my word out and about and educate people on health and wellness. And so I have my BA in athletic development, which is like the kinesiology side, so all about the physical being and the body and learning how to move and being able to really build muscle and stuff like that. And then the health aspect is the nutrition aspect. So, just being able to put menus and work with people on their nutrition and being able to dive into each individual's what they can eat and how they can apply it into their lives. So the Bishop's was an amazing experience. And it was such a small school, so I was able to really get to know my teachers and be able to learn from them big time.
Yeah. So you mentioned like each individual, like what people in terms from like an eating meal prep perspective, but also exercising. I mean, it varies from person to person, based on their lifestyle, but also what they're trying to achieve and what their outcomes are. So Maddie and I went on a call maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, because I had some questions about goal setting, to be quite honest, and how to properly set goals to achieve the outcomes that I wanted to see in my life. So we talked about different methods. So Maddie asked great questions, as a coach does. But can you talk a little bit about what happened after you finished school and then came out to Toronto and started your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the really important parts about being an entrepreneur is having someone to look to who has gone before you. So having a mentor to ask questions to and follow and take little bits and pieces of what they've done and apply it with your own little spin to it. So I've been lucky enough to work with a woman named Kathy Savage, and I went to her a business mindset weekend with her in Boston. And leaving school, I knew I had a big idea and I knew I had a vision and I wanted to follow it, but I didn't quite know the steps to take, how to get there. So I went to her weekend. It was a small group of us, maybe 10 women, who wanted to advance in their fields. And I was by far the youngest. I was sitting there. I was like, okay, I have a lot of questions and I need to learn a lot right now.
Which is probably honestly the best position to be in.
Yeah.
Really young and eager to learn and curious.
Absolutely.
People are so willing to help.
Absolutely. And as an entrepreneur, that is your number one asset, is being willing to learn. You have to always be open to everything and taking it in, taking nuggets from what everybody says and applying it into your business. So I went to Boston, and I said, I was kind of thinking about going into personal training at a gym, and that's kind of the path I was going to go, and maybe eventually lead off into personal training by myself. And Kathy said, absolutely not. You need to dive head first into this. You need to go out on your own and take what we're telling you and just run with it and just dive head first, because as soon as you have something else to lean on, you don't put your heart into
like a plan B.
Exactly. If you have something else to lean on. So I just stepped into that role of an entrepreneur right away off the bat, and I went, okay, this is what I have to do. If my mentor and the person who has built an amazing empire before me, if she's telling me to do this, I'm going to do this. So that's what I've been doing. And then I moved to Toronto with my boyfriend in September. And
from Ottawa, right?
From Ottawa. So I'm born and raised Ottawa. Ottawa. Ottawa's a great city. Love it. It's nice and quiet and clean. And I came to Toronto and just basically I've been heads down ever since. I had a little bit of money saved up from after school, and I lived off of that for the first 2 months while I was prepping everything, and then I launched in October, and I've just 2018. October 2018 I launched, and it's just heads down ever since.
Okay, so that's a lot, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there now, and I think it's definitely an interesting time in this space.
Yeah.
When you dived in, with the advice of your mentors, there was definitely fear in that, right?
Absolutely.
And how did you manage that?
Absolutely. No, there's always, but I don't look at it as fear. I look at it more as anticipation. So you're excited about something. It's maybe a little scary, but being able to tap into your belief in yourself is probably your biggest tool in your toolbox. You need to know and believe in yourself that you can achieve it. Because I know we were talking a little bit about risk, and I don't really use the word risk in my vocabulary. I look at that word more as being brave. So I think entrepreneurs always have to bite off a little bit more than they can chew. So you're always stepping out of your comfort zone, but that really is the invitation for growth, because your comfort zone's here. Then you bite a little bit more off, and then your comfort zone's here, and then you bite a little bit more off, and you grow and grow and grow. Mm-hmm. And I think absolutely you need to know in your heart that you can achieve that goal, because anything you want to do is possible. Like 100%, you just have to go for it and work for it, and always be willing to learn, mm-hmm. and always be open to that. But absolutely you're going to be a little bit fearful, but that's
part of life.
That is all part of it, and that's how you know you're alive, and you know you're doing something amazing.
Mm-hmm. Risk is an interesting thing to talk about. So is fear. The way I see it, it's interesting. The way I see fear is, do I want to be 90 years old looking back thinking, what if I had done this at age 22?
Yeah.
where could my life have gone? And that's what freaking scares me.
Yes.
Because when you're starting off on a new journey, or deciding to start this project, or launching this new business, there's always uncertainty, and that's what risk is. It's mm-hmm. that uncertainty level. Mm-hmm. But that's when you know that there's more, like the most opportunity to grow.
Yes.
In those
Absolutely.
things. So when you talked about your comfort zone growing,
yes,
that's like you becoming a fuller and like more wholesome person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're really able to step into that,
yeah.
and just show up in your skin as mm-hmm. you are, and you're not faking it, because you have grown into that, and that is a beautiful thing. You grow every day, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. It's true.
It's true. No, I completely agree. So yeah, one of the things that we talked about was, regardless of how you want to phrase risk, what are some that you took throughout your life that really paid off for you, and maybe some that didn't?
Yeah.
If you have one example for each, and what you learned from both.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A risk that I took not long ago, last year, my 4th year of university. I've always been a hard worker, and I always like to be busy, so I keep myself organized all the time. Yeah. But I took on the role of editor-in-chief of my school paper last year, with my all my classes, and a relationship to uphold, and friendships to uphold, and projects to do. And I decided that I would be an amazing editor-in-chief, and I've always been a writer. That was one of the other routes that I was going to take, before I decided to stick to health and fitness. But I took on the role as editor-in-chief, and I definitely bit off more than I could chew. I was overwhelmed. It was a lot to handle. There was just a lot coming at me, and your mental health starts to slip a little bit, and you start to go, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to achieve everything? And I thought about walking away many times, but
from the role,
I was going to hand it off to someone else, because it was becoming too much. But instead of doing that, I decided to step into the role of a leader, because I had accepted being editor-in-chief. Mm-hmm. I had a staff of like 15 people that I was managing and writing all of these things, and I decided to look at it as an opportunity to learn. So what I did is I ended up delegating. I said, okay,
thank you.
There's a lot coming at me.
Yeah.
Specifically, I am going to distribute it to my people. My people are here to help. They want to learn as well. So that's what I learned how to deal with my team at that point. So I said, you're going to take care of this. You're going to take care of this. You're going to take care of this. And I started time blocking my schedule. So I said to people, you can contact me between this time and this time. And I delegated those times of the day to do my editor-in-chief role. Yeah. And from there, things started to become a little bit easier. You get to manage. You get over that first hump of overwhelm, and you learn, and everyone gets a little bit better, and you deal with things as they come. But really being able to learn how to delegate in that time, that's something that served me, and I still hold on to every day. Mm-hmm. And learning how to manage my team, and manage expectations and all that sort of stuff.
Very important skill to learn early on, like management, like how to manage people, mm-hmm. How to manage your time, and how to manage like the process. And Absolutely. If you're able to figure out all of those, I'm sure 100% certain that these skills have served you in your business as well.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I walked away knowing that even in that the most intense time in my life, I came out successful, and I came out with so much knowledge and experience that I knew I could handle anything after that.
Yeah. Definitely boosts confidence. What's maybe a risk that didn't work out for you? Do you have one?
I've done a lot of things in my life. I graduated high school early, moved to Milan. A risk that didn't work out for me.
Maybe honestly, it could be your perspective on it too, because even when, it's interesting for me, even when things didn't necessarily work out, I never really see it as a failure. Oprah talks about this all the time. It's just, you see it as a redirection, and that turning into something that you never would have freaking expected at all.
Absolutely. I mean, here's the examples. I mean, as a model, you walk in and you meet hundreds of agents and hundreds of people, and you're gonna get one yes for every 10 no. So learning not to take things personally, I think, is really important. That's one of the key things that I tell any entrepreneur that's starting a venture. Don't take anything personally. Control what you can control. Let go of the rest and just keep moving forward. But absolutely, never taking anything personally, and just being ready and open to accept a rejection or a no, because it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's going to be up and down all the time.
How did you, in terms of coaching and finding a coach to help you out in your early days, do you think that's a crucial thing for those who are just starting out, to have someone who's already done what you're trying to achieve and help them support you? Had you compare that to had you not, gotten some coaching assistance?
That's a great question.
How would things have been different for you?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I think even if you don't know them personally, like I'm lucky enough that I have my mentor on a personal level, and she helps me here and there. Even if you don't have someone personally, just having like a Tony Robbins, or someone who inspires you, someone who pours love and inspiration into you, someone that excites you, that you can learn from. I think that is a super important part of not only the success in your business, but also your personal growth, right? You need to always be growing. And I think if I hadn't searched for someone who was doing this too, and hadn't found, because I was the one who found Kathy Savage. I said, oh, she's really cool, she's a health and wellness coach, I'm going to join her, because like I have a coach, right? She has a collection of coaches, and one of her coaches is my coach. So I think always having levels and always learning from someone above you is so important. So important. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be personal. It doesn't have to be a one-on-one connection. But always learning from someone who just wants to give information, because those people who have built something that you want to build have so much to teach you, and they then step into the education role, and you want to learn from them. So absolutely, I don't know where. I think I would have been floundering a little bit had I not discovered the whole mentorship idea and being able to find someone. I would be on a completely different path. I wouldn't have been able to step into and have the belief and passion to step into an entrepreneurial role on my own. I needed that, a little bit of guidance to help me there. You always do.
It's interesting, something clicked. It's almost having like tangible proof that what you're trying to achieve has sort of like already been done. So you probably avoided like a lot of mistakes that Kathy, right? Kathy made on her journey, that she's like teaching you about. So it's definitely like I love talking about mentorship. Coming into that though, I'm sure you had to be clear on your value prop and what you had to offer, because these people, like, our time is very valuable. So she obviously saw something in you, but how did you ready yourself for that, for meeting her and that opportunity for those who want a mentor?
Well, I was scared. I was straight up like, I'm going to meet this woman now. Like, okay, here I am, fresh out of university. Like, I have some experience in my life, but I haven't worked the working world the way that so many people have. So I was definitely nervous going into it, for sure. But you ready yourself. You just bring what you have to the table, and if you're in that position that you're searching for someone, you already know you have a light inside of you. You already know you have a fire that's driving you, that's exciting you. You're looking for more. And that is all anyone can bring to the table, right? Is that fire. And any mentor would see that in you. Absolutely. If you're going to them saying, I want to learn from you, I want to know what you've done, I want you, like, will you help me? There's no way they'll say no. There's no way they'll say no, because you're bringing a passion that is a new passion that could take what they've done and expand it even further. So it's a beautiful thing, really. You're just kind of ripple effect all over the world. And in health and wellness, that's all you can ask for, right? Is just allow everybody to find some ease when it comes to their health.
Yeah. So is there anything, like, in terms of like tangible advice for people who want to reach out? Because you didn't know Kathy, so what was your approach for finding her, reaching out to her, and like, what did you say initially?
Yeah, good question. So she has, in my specific situation, like I said, she has a program. So she has coaches who work with people to help their health and fitness. So I stepped up my game when it came to health and fitness. First, I had to work on myself first. So I started there.
Thanks for talking about that, by the way.
Of course.
Like, none of this is easy, and it requires tons of self-awareness. So.
No, and you're, like I said, you're always growing. So, and then you want to share that, which, anyway. So I stepped into her health and fitness program first, worked on myself, got myself to a place where I was happy, kind of got over that plateau when it came to my own health and fitness. Like I said, I've always been an athlete, but there was always room to grow, right? So I got there, and then I really fell in love with the whole community that she had built. And from there, when I saw that she was kind of branching off and starting to do a little bit more business mentorship, I got in there like...
Put your hand up.
Oh, I was like, hello, yes please, I'm in. So I'd actually drag my mom to Boston with me. I was like, you're coming. And then you just, you don't, there's nothing you really can prepare to say to them. You just say, I want to learn from you. I'm here, I'm ready, I'm willing, and they are not going to turn that away. But it's nerve-wracking at first, but it's an amazing thing, and having a mentor has changed everything.
For the better. Definitely like fast-tracked, and being able to like just take in so much of that knowledge. Can you talk a little bit about the community of like-minded folks that you've been meeting along the way?
Yes, I can. It changes everything. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people changes everything. I've had.
Oh, I totally believe
it's
this,
like it. I mean, if you're willing to work on yourself, you have to be willing to expand that into your entire surroundings. Like your entire house has to be, in positive vibes. Anything that's sending mixed signals isn't gonna work in the long run. You have to, like, there's some people that might not support you in this, and that, I'm sorry, you might have to say, that's fine, I appreciate your honesty, I'm going this way, I might have to leave you behind a little bit. You have to kind of figure out what's going to work for you in the long run. And you have to bring that support in and that community in, because having support around you just helps you, it drives you forward, because in those moments when it goes down, there's ups and there's downs, and when self-doubt starts to creep in and restrictions start to creep in, you're able to look at the people around you, and they lift you up and they say, you got this, you're in a...
Okay, we're gonna jump right back into it. Let's do it. But maybe we'll start to talk about, how do you go about aligning your day, and do you have any morning routines or evening routines to ensure that you're not busy but productive?
No, great question. So I think as an entrepreneur, every day is a full day. You have the same amount of time as Oprah, and you need to get Beyonce, you need to get everything in that time, right?
Yeah.
So I wake up around 7 or 7:30, not my happy place, I'm not gonna lie. I like to sleep until about 8. That is my happy time.
Okay,
it's not sleeping in. It's not sleeping in, but I usually get up at 8. So I've really taught myself to get up, kind of be in that early morning club, and get a little bit more done in the morning, so that I like to keep the late evenings to myself. So how am I going to fit it all in, right? And I've really taken to time blocking. Every part of my day is blocked off. Even if I'm having dinner that has a specific color and it's blocked off, my whole day is time blocked, and that really allows you to keep on track and organized. I think if you're looking to step into the role of an entrepreneur, you have to stay organized. Organization is all part of it. Calculation is all part of it. So I like to wake up around 7. The first thing I do is I go through about a 20-minute yoga stretch, just get my body moving, kind of wake up a little bit. Like I said, it's not my happy time, but I really kind of just wake myself up in that time. I do about a 5-minute meditation by Tony Robbins. It's called The Emotional Flood by Tony Robbins. It just brings memories back and really allows you to step into your day. And then I have coffee with my boyfriend, and then I'll go to the gym. So the first kind of 2 hours of my day are really just focused on me, making sure that I'm showing up in my best skin, making sure that I am aligned and I am ready to go. And then, thank you. And then the mornings, I usually do any calls I have, one-on-one calls. I'll time block that. And then the afternoon, I'll be doing research, I'll be doing work, I'll be doing actually physical work, making programs for people, emailing back and forth. And then the evenings, we'll have team calls a lot of the time. Pretty much every night we have some sort of training session or learning session, we're talking. But every part of my day, like I said, is time blocked. And just following that, I color code my time blocking. It's really fun, and you just kind of like
scheduling can be fun, yeah.
But you have to be efficient, and efficiency is all part of it every single day, and that's what allows you. It allows you to step into that kind of taking control of your day, because no one else is going to do it for you. So you've got to make sure that you're aligned with your day.
100%. And you also you mentioned. It's interesting. I time block emails as well. Otherwise, especially when I'm like trying to get work done. If you get email notifications, it's so distracting to come out of your work, check the email, and then adjust yourself to get back into that momentum and that groove that you set. So do you also time block emails?
I do. I time block specific times, and I'm always talking to people, right? Because in my industry, it's all about relationships. It's all about conversations you're having. So I actually have the volume on my phone off, so it doesn't ding while I'm doing something else. If I'm focused on goal setting at this time of day, my phone's quiet. If emails are coming in, I'll deal with them when it's time for that.
Okay.
So I set that aside as well.
Perfect. This is kind of a switch of gears, but earlier we talked about fear setting, and it's interesting. Off camera, Maddie said that she doesn't even think about what if it goes wrong because she's so narrowed in on, and she sees. You see your vision.
Absolutely.
And I think like with the self-doubt, how do you deal with self-doubt and reservations is the ultimate question, but there are definitely different perspectives on this issue. So can you talk a little bit about how you see self-doubt, or if you do ever doubt yourself?
Absolutely. I think the way I see it, like Naomi just said, I mentioned earlier, when I was launching my business, I never thought to myself, what if this doesn't work out? That wasn't a thought that I allowed to come in, because then you make it an option. I think if you say, oh, but it's possible, it might not work out. If you're deciding to become an entrepreneur, you don't have that option. You're like, this is the way I'm going to be. You have an idea of what you want, and you're driven towards that. So what I do it doesn't become what if this happens, it's how am I going to make this happen. So that's when kind of a little bit more calculation comes in. It really is, you can really bring it down to a math calculation. It's okay if I have a goal, let's say, because a lot of the time when you're starting out, it's a financial goal. I mean, every entrepreneur, the first year or two is stressful. You're building, you're going, and sometimes you've got your bills to pay. So let's say I know that I have X number of dollars that I have to pay at the end of the month for rent, okay? And my goal is to be able to pay my rent with my coaching clients. Let's say that that's my goal, okay? So I know that because of something that I call KPIs, which are key performance indicators. So knowing
business should know.
Yeah, exactly. Because I had in my entrepreneur minor, I had some business classes. So KPIs, knowing what little things are bringing you forward. So if I know from my KPIs, I have an 80% close rate. Okay, so everyone I talk to, 80% of the people say yes. If I know that about myself, I know that each and every day I need to talk to this many people in order to bring in that many people in the week in order to reach my goal by the end of this amount of time. So it really is just taking that daily action, figuring out what little steps you need to do to reach that, and doing those little steps every single day. Every single day you get there. So there's not this kind of, you're not up here going, oh, what if it doesn't work out? You're like, no, I am here, I am on the ground, and I am running. I am running towards what I want, and I will get there. And you have to be tunnel focused on it. You have to have a vision and an idea of what you want, and just daily action every single day to get yourself forward. And if you're coming into an entrepreneur environment kind of maybe part-time, and you don't have full-time every single day, maybe some people have an idea of something they want to do but they can't commit their whole day to it, finding those times in your day, we call it like the extra 8 hours. You're at work for 8 hours a day.
You're sleeping for 8.
You're sleeping for 8. You have another 8 hours that you can do what you want to do. When are you going to figure out the times to do that daily action? So for me, of course it's nerve-wracking going into a venture like this, but fear, I take that fear and I calculate it and I say, what do I have to do in order to make it happen?
Love it. Tim Ferriss talks about fear setting, and it's similar to what you're talking about, taking whatever, because at the end of the day we need to be practical in that as well.
Yes.
So, which you are, but if you can write it down and look at that fear for what it is, you actually take away all the emotional aspects of it. That as humans it's natural for us to think that way. So, okay, if you can make it more tactical and more tangible, and actually write it down and write out everything that you can do to just mitigate it or move past it, I think you're in a much better position to succeed for sure.
Absolutely, and letting what excites you drive you. And I think if you can live a little bit more in your heart, then that will drive you forward. Knowing that what you're doing, because you can be up here, I was talking a lot of, calculation is a lot of mind movement, and you're leading with your mind, but as an entrepreneur you also kind of have to lead with your heart. So if you spend more time in what excites you and allow that to drive you, and then put the two together, I think you've got a recipe for success.
Yeah, that's great. And that was the next question to kind of go into, for those who are stuck and have an idea and have no idea where to start, or just they know what they need to do but for some reason cannot get to that space.
Totally.
You already talked about what advice you would give them, but if you were to sum it up into like two or three tangible things, what would that be?
Absolutely. Again, always be open to learn something. That'll give you more than you could ever ask for. But my one piece of advice I would give is stop getting ready to get ready. I think we can spend so much time preparing and so much time dreaming and so much time like really thinking about it, and we can think about it all we want, but without that action, it won't come alive. And I think you really need to have your why. I mean, this podcast is called The Power of Why. Know what excites you in your heart, because that is your why. That is your why. You don't have to sit there and wonder what your why is. Whatever it is that makes you excited and gets you up in the morning, that's your why. Allow that to drive you, and really just get going on it. Don't spend any more time, because you're gonna learn as you go.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're not gonna learn any more than you do when you're doing it. You're gonna learn all the time. You always just have to stay one step ahead of everything else, and you're gonna just continue to learn and continue to grow. But you can stay in one spot for as long as you want. You really can, but you're gonna, like we were just talking about, Naomi said that she read a book called Who Stole My Cheese? And you stay where you are, and it's all of it. She just explained everything to me, but you can stay comfortable in one spot. But eventually you're gonna run out of whatever kept you there. You're gonna need to go over here.
Yeah.
So just taking little daily action every single day, and just jumping in with both feet. You have to be willing to take that leap, and it's nerve-wracking, and it's exciting, and it's everything you could ever want it to be, and it's an amazing thing. You can't ask for anything more than following your passion.
Yeah, I can't preach about that anymore. I mean, the reason why I started the podcast, it wasn't just give people strategies to try to find their why, because everyone's method, the way people go about it is going to be different. And our reasons for doing this are also different. But if, I could use this platform to share stories of how people went about it, what questions they asked themselves, realizing that they have setbacks too, and you're not alone in that, is courageous, and I think it's brave. So thank you for that. So the last 2 questions which I ask all my guests are, for one, what is the go-to resource that you have, whether that's like a book, a podcast, a person, like a coach that you look up to when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, wellness?
Yeah, no, great question. I mean, there's resources on resources, and I think any entrepreneur has all of them at once, right?
That's part of the problem.
That's part of the thing. It's like there's so much information, and you kind of got to dial it back. I listen to at least one podcast pretty much every day on my walk to the gym. Some people don't, like one of the mentors I look up to, she doesn't actually go to the gym. She works from home while watching videos. I like to spend time, I like to take that time for myself, and it is part of the time freedom, right? So I listen to a podcast on my way to the gym and on my way back, so I'm always learning from there, and those have served me so much more than I ever could have thought possible.
Are they business related, fitness related?
They're business related, fitness related, mindset related. Sitting in meditation is something that I have found recently to be a huge help, because your mind starts going, right? You like I said, you live up here a little bit, you're like, Wah! But being able to bring it back in and remember why you're doing it, and just recharging that way is fantastic. So meditation. Reading, I've started to read more business books. I used to always be a novel reader. Like I said, writing has always been a passion of mine, and reading and writing. So reading at the end of the day before bed is a great thing. Talking to mentors, talking to other people, your support group, your tribe around you is one of the biggest resources you could ever use and utilize. Yeah, that's a good one too.
And final question, which is very fitting for the power of why, is what gets you up in the morning? And for people, it's interesting. For people who are very clear on what it is, you notice that Maddie definitely touched upon it several times throughout the interview in all of her questions, because it's who you are more than what you do, right? So what is it that gets you up in the morning?
Man, that's a great question. Like I said, everything that excites you is your why. Touch into your heart, know what gets you up in the morning. Mine, I've always been someone that has lived outside the box a little bit. I moved to Milan when I was a kid. I've always done these different things, and I always knew that I was meant for something really, really cool. And more recently now, as I've grown into this role, I know that greatness is service to other people, bringing my knowledge of what I know about health and wellness and allowing it to be easy for other people, and bringing that ease into people's lives. It really has nothing to do with me, and it has everything to do with helping as many people as I can find, like I said, find ease in their lives. And that's what gets me going in the morning. When I had my very first client come on, I went, okay, this is a real person that is coming to me for help, and I get to pour everything that I have into them. And when someone says thank you, it's like, oh, you're so welcome. You are so welcome. And that's what drives me, is just service and being there for people, and watching them bloom into everything that they ever wanted to be, because the health and fitness industry is so loud. There's so much information coming at you all the time. You don't know, and if you don't have any sort of athletic background, or you don't know what works for you, finding someone that can help you figure that out and clear the waters, if I can be that person for someone, that drives me every single day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sitting down on this episode. I can't believe we're already, episode 10. So very excited.
I love this podcast. I've watched a bunch of the other ones. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that I was able to bring some information and some nuggets to the viewers, and that you take something from this and are able to apply it into your life.
That's
the key. It's the application portion of it.
Yes.
Because we could read all the books that we want, we can listen to all the podcasts, but if you don't actually take that and run with it, or take it, mold it into what it's going to work for you, then you're never going to see things start to happen in your life. So thank you. Thank you again for listening. You watched episode 10 with Naomi and Maddie. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Good job.
Yay! Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Power of Why podcast. It is such a pleasure to bring forward women who are absolutely killing it in their industry. If anything resonated with you in this episode, make sure to put it in the comments or even reach out to me directly. So if you know any women, or if you are a woman who is doing incredible things in your community, send me a message. I'd love to chat.